start with good news. Does anybody have anything good that's happened that they've seen around the district in the last month since we did this last?
Yeah, our football team's kicking butt. We're having fun. We went to Victoria West last week, and it's a 5A school, and I think all 3 teams showed well or won their scrimmages. So super excited and they got a pretty good ranking, but we're not going to talk about it. So we're gonna go out with issues.
Great.
Yeah, fun.
I know cross country had a meet at the high school today, and volleyball's been doing great things. They played in the had a game Friday night here, and then played in a tournament. I think they won first in the bronze. Is that correct? Yeah. So great job, ladies. Anything else happening? I think convocation and all the start to the school year was fantastic. Mr. Townsend did a great job in his speech and convocation. So I think the year is rolling, and from what I hear, it's been a good start so far. All right, if no one has anything else, we'll move into our favorite part, which is celebration of excellence. I think it's with the high school this evening.
Yeah, where Miss Lopez went.
She's
Here she
right
is with the whole group. So tonight we are celebrating some of our college board recognitions, and Miss Lopez, our college and career liaison, has the list, so I'm just going to help with the handing out. So, good evening. This year we are proud to celebrate 7 of our students who have earned a College Board National Recognition Program Award. To be eligible, students must have taken the PSAT in their junior year, maintained a GPA of 3.5 or higher, and identify with an underrepresented group in higher education. These awards highlight not only their academic achievement and determination, but also their potential as future leaders and scholars. This recognition can also provide them with valuable college and scholarship opportunities as they continue their educational journey. So today we honor their hard work. First, pressure. Andres Moreno is not here, but he received the same 3 awards. Brooklyn Hutto, Rural and Small Town Recognition and Small Town Recognition. Dawson Hudgens, Rural and Small Town Recognition and Small Town Recognition. Kyla Garcia, National First Generation Recognition, Rural Small Town Recognition and School Recognition. Brianne Hahn, Rural and Small Town Recognition and Town Recognition, School Recognition. April Martinez Panyala, First Generation Recognition Award. Oh, I have a sign for the photo. Yes. Perfect. Just a little bit. Miss Lopez? Come on. She's trying to hide in the back.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank y'all. Congratulations.
Great job. It's always exciting to hear. All right. Thank you to our high school. I know that's not just a thing that we do, but it truly shows what we're doing at our high school and showcases not only the high school, but all the way down to our littlest ones, what they're getting from down at that level all the way up. So thank y'all for what you're doing. All right, moving on, we do not have any audience with patrons this evening. So we're going to move right into Bay City governance, which is our final star scores and action plan. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see you.
I'm going to do some special deliveries.
Perfect. Thank you.
Guys, while everyone's getting set up.
Thank you.
Cheryl Roberts, Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Accountability. And so I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our final STAR scores. We say final, remember they're not finalized until December, but so we're going to kind of go ahead and look at them. I made a copy. Nothing really changed from the last time we talked last month, except for our science scores came out. So I added these up into the spreadsheet. Go on and zoom in a little bit. So that means that you're going to see them on all 3 pages. On the first one, you've got teen homes, which is on page 2, I believe, the science scores. So you can see those scores. They went up in all of their categories. The master's level did dip just a tiny bit, but we've got great numbers there, 5th grade science scores. Going down into the junior high, looking at those science scores, you can see wonderful results there. All 4 categories went up. And the did not meets actually went down, so that is great as well. So wonderful numbers there. And then scooting up to the high school, when we go into the biology numbers, again, all 4 categories went up, so they all increased, except for did not meets actually went down. So green in all of those areas, so we're super proud of the work that we've been doing in science. Any questions? One of the things I did want to point out, and I made some notes off to the side, you should have it on yours, and it only applies to the high school scores. We did go on and calculate those retakes that occurred during summer school in the summer months. And so I did make those changes. So if you see, for example, Algebra 1, the did not meets category actually went from 23 percentile points to 16. The approaches went from 77 to actually 84. Now that approaches based on those retakes. The meets went from 35 to 37. And so I made little notes, and you can see English, all of those numbers, those retake tests help in all 3 of those top categories. The did not meets dropped from 31% to 27. The approaches went from a 69 to a 73, which is great. And the meets went from a 48 to 50. U.S. history, you could see we had a couple of retakes and they did change a little bit. Did not meets was outstanding, only 5%. It actually went down to 2. And then the approaches went from 95 to 98. So some great numbers to see there. English too, I know that's one of the areas we talked about last month. And those retakes are super important. You know, those are key for graduation. And so 3 of those areas increased as well based on the retake numbers. So overall, we're super proud of what's going on at all of our campuses. And then next month, we're going to kind of delve deeper into the AQF ratings, and so we're going to talk about all of that next month. Anybody have any questions on these?
Do you have a percent of numbers that are based on retakes? Like a percent showing the increases based on retakes?
That's what shows on here, the change. So the old change was prior to those retakes.
Okay.
And I can get you how many retakes were done if you would like that number.
Okay.
How many were done in the summer. And remember, at the high school level, they'll take retakes several times during the year as well. And so that they get multiple opportunities to try and pass those EOC exams for graduation. Great question.
Any other questions in regards to this?
Super.
Thank you.
All right, and then if you're ready to move on to the next,
Sure.
all right, we can move right on. So each of our campuses do a one-pager, an action plan, if you will, based on our STAR scores, based on our attendance numbers, based on all of the data that we get from the year prior. They come up with a plan of action, and they present it into a quick one-pager summary for you to see. So we're going to start with Teen Homes Elementary. This year, for the first time, which is kind of exciting, we did a one-pager as the curriculum and instruction team. And so we're going to present that as well. So Teen Homes, take it away.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share an update on Teen Homes Elementary. Tonight I want to focus specifically on 2 things: what our data is telling us about our areas of concern, and more importantly, what we are doing about them. I am proud of the progress our campus has made. have moved from an accountability score of a 59 to a 78, representing a 19-point improvement. Within our comparison group, we have also moved from 38 to 11th, a gain of 27 positions. Our current domain scores are 72 in student achievement, 77 in school progress, and 79 in closing the gaps. Those numbers tell us that our systems are producing results. However, they also tell us that we still have very specific areas that require our attention. Area of concern number 1, third grade performance. Our most immediate academic area of concern is third grade performance, particularly in reading language arts. This year, both reading and math teachers are following the Blue-Bonnet instructional resources to strengthen alignment, consistency, and rigor across classrooms. But we are not simply providing teachers with a resource and expecting them to implement it. We are providing coaching alongside the resource. We have partnered up with Region 3 to provide direct instructional coaching on our campus every week. Mondays are dedicated to math and Tuesdays are dedicated to reading. During this time, our teachers receive coaching specifically focused on how to effectively teach the lessons. This gives teachers an opportunity to strengthen their understanding of the resource, instructional delivery, pacing, questioning, and the level of rigor expected from the students. Intensive support for third grade. Because third grade is our greatest area of concern, we are increasing the level of support provided specifically to those teachers. We have scheduled 13 coaching visits for our third grade teachers. Every coaching visit will include a learning walk followed by immediate feedback. We do not want feedback occurring days or weeks after instruction. We want teachers receiving additional actionable feedback while the lesson and instructional decisions are still fresh. The cycle will be observe, provide immediate feedback, implement, monitor, and adjust. This allows us to continuously strengthen Tier 1 instruction throughout the year rather than waiting for assessment results to tell us something needs to be changed. Targeted student intervention. Our second layer of support will focus directly on students. We will begin after school and Saturday tutoring during the 4th week of school. Students will first complete an IXL screener, which will help us identify specific skill deficits and appropriately place students based on their instructional needs. The areas of focus will be phonics, sight word recognition, and fluency. Concern number 3, attendance. Our attendance has increased from 93.2 to 94.19. Our campus goal is to reach and sustain 95% or higher. We have developed a layered attendance incentive system that creates accountability and recognition at the classroom, grade level, and individual student levels. Focus area number 4, sustaining discipline gains. Discipline is actually one of our strongest areas of improvement, but it remains an area we must intentionally protect. ISS full days have a 20% reduction. OSS full days have a 78% reduction. Those numbers are important because every day we keep a student out of exclusionary discipline is another opportunity for that student to receive instruction. We will continue strengthening our PBIS systems and campus-wide behavior expectations. Our objective is to change behavior, strengthen relationships, protect instructional time, and keep students connected to school. Our instructional system. When you look at all of these action steps, they are not separate programs. They are part of one interconnected system. Our instructional framework includes PLCs, Fundamental 5, data-driven instruction, MTSS and intervention, learning walks, common assessments, student goal setting, and instructional coaching. Each component has a purpose, and each component connects back to student outcomes. As principal, I am proud of the progress represented by this data, but I also recognize that progress creates a responsibility to keep moving forward. We are proud of how far our Black Hats have come, and we are even more focused on where we are going next. Thank you for your continued support of Cheney Holmes Elementary, our staff, our families, and most importantly, our students. Questions?
Great job, thank you so much.
Before she sits down, if I could take a minute, she has her whole team here, and I think it's very important. One thing I didn't share during good news I wanted to, but I wanted to do it right now while she was up here. Region 3 reached out to us, and as a district, they said they were questioned by someone from TEA, a member of the High Quality Instructional Materials Task Force, reached out to Region 3 and said, what is going on at Teeny Holmes Elementary? What did you do differently as a region to support them? They said that truly it was the work of Ms. Flores and her staff, her teachers, her instructional coach, her administrative team, that they allowed no, what was her words? No room for downtime. That she implemented everything with fidelity, and she didn't allow any questioning or backsliding. She stayed on the course as she had done, and they were extremely proud of her. They even went the next step further, letting Region 3 know that they were going to take Teeny Holmes Elementary's 4th and 5th grade teams to the Commissioner of Education as identified as a bright spot in Texas education. They are proud of the work that is happening there, and so Mr. Townsend allowed me to reach out to the staff and congratulate them on our behalf, and we are just something, we're proud, and I think it deserves a nice round of applause for students.
Great job, thank you for all the hard work.
Yes. All right, and so now we're going to move on to Bay City Junior High with Mrs. Cummings. If you need to zoom in, or I can do it for you. Want me to? Zoom in. Of course you can. Anything you need.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually go over our goals that we have for this past year. So our 6th grade math, that's one that we've actually always have reported on for Lone Star governance and Bay City governance as well too. That's an area that we still continue to focus on. But for last year, it improved across every threshold. So our did not meets actually decreased from 45 to 43. Our approaches went up a couple, meets went up one, and then our masters went up as well too. So that's been a huge growth for us, or blow for us, because that's always been an area that's been a concern for us and something that we focus on each year. Our Algebra 1 always remained a standout. We have 100% approaches, so they've all passed. Our meets went up by 7 points to 95%, and our masters, our 60% of our kids have masters have taken the Algebra 1 assessment. Our 8th grade science one for meets rose from 45 to 51, and our masters went from 16 to 27. So that's been one that we've been trying to move the needle on for the longest time, and finally pushing that needle on our 8th grade science. We had some staffing changes that we made, and so that's really helped us up in that area there with science. Our 8th grade social studies, again, that's another needle we've been trying to move year after year, because you gotta remember with 8th grade science and social studies, that's the first time they take that assessment ever. And then the science one, the last time they took it was in 5th grade. So you don't have something to compare to from the previous year. So for both of those are the ones we were trying to push the needle. So for social studies, our meets increased from 15 to 16, but it went up. So we're proud of the work that we have going on there. Some of our areas that we need to grow on for this year that we're focusing on is our ELR area. They went down across the board on that, so that's something that we are focusing, and I'll go over how we're working to support our ELR team this year. Our 7th grade math is one that actually did, our approaches decreased from 48 to 42. And so that's an area for us that is of a concern as well too for math. So that's something that we're definitely focusing on. In our 8th grade math too, we had a little bit of a decrease there as well too from our meets, and for the kids who didn't pass. In our social studies, our masters declined slightly from 8 to 2%. Get us there? Okay. So those are the 2 areas of our goals and our growth. So based on that information, our instructional goals for ELR growth, we're going to increase meets or above at least 5 percentage points across all 3 grade levels by the end of this year. And we're going to do that with our PLC cycles, our Panther time groups. We are implementing Amplify, which is basically the junior high version of Bluebonnet. And so that's new. It's not just being implemented 1 grade level and then to the next. All 3 grade levels are implementing that this year. So that's a huge task for our team this year, that they're taking the challenge and they've started it. And we've got the same Region 3 support for Amplify as well too. And continuing with our common assessment data to drive the work for that. And then our second focus goal is also with math for our 7th and 8th grade math to increase by 5 percentage points for the end of spring. And still sustain our Algebra 1, where they're back every year, because that's always been a strong point for us. So those are our 2 instructional goals. based on what we've had with our data on there, so our instruction and academic support. So we are launching Amplify. So grades 6, 7, and 8, they started off with the training over the summer, and that's going to have a line planning, implementation checks, and support. And our weekly PLCs and Panther time is going to be used to reteach priority standards, accelerate students to the next performance level, and provide enrichment. And I don't know if I have it down there too, but we're also working with Region 3. They'll be working with the ELR team every week in their PLCs to help with that implementation of Amplify and to provide that support, and also do walkthroughs with the teachers and provide coaching support as well. And then also with Region 3, we're also having targeted instructional coaching with our science and our social studies departments as well too. In addition to that, since creating this also too, we're going to add our certain math areas too, like we have our 7th and 8th grade math support as well. So to actually have that additional support, which having that extra coaching on the campus will definitely help us out. Also strengthening our data analysis, we're working with Region 3 to create targeted Panther time student groups that will be with certain teachers who either are TIA identified, because they're definitely ones that are designated to be able to provide the intervention support, and also work with IXL to provide that more targeted intervention as well too during Panther time. We restructured our staffing to better match our student needs, so we've had some teachers move different content, different grade levels, just for their strengths to be able to help out our students and where their needs are at. And we returned from an 8-class period down to 7-class periods, which is definitely going to help us instructionally with an increase a little bit of instructional time on that part. And this year, I'm excited to say too that we have the Boys and Girls Club that will be working with us. They'll be on our campus after school, and they'll be working closely with our academic dean too to provide academic support in addition to what they do. So being able to have that extra support on campus is great. We're going to actually beef up our Saturday academies, both in the fall and the spring. I know we had to cut back on that a little bit last year, but we're definitely making that a high priority this year as well too. To have both in the fall and in the spring, targeting not just the students that we have for Panther time, or who maybe didn't do as well, but also going from meets to masters and pushing the ball to the next level on that part. And then in the bottom part that I have for you on there, again, with our interventions, we do have Panther time targeted intervention enrichment, RTI, MTSS academic and behavioral support, so we've added more. We have Ms. Ashton, she's a new addition. We got her partway through the year last year, so she brought a lot of fresh ideas for us for our MTSS and PBIS support this year, so we're excited about that. Again, Saturday Academy and then the after school children and Boys and Girls Club. And this is the second year of the academic dean, so we've really vamped that position up this year, so that's actually a huge support to our campus. For the incentives, we are doing our 6-week student and staff recognition, so again, those are going to be new. We're going to have a lot of different ways with either like with behavior, with attendance, with AAP honor rolls to acknowledge those every 6 weeks. Our PBI score, we've got a lot of great things in there for this year, starting off all with our theme with our Built to Evolve, and I'm sorry about the golf cart on the stage. Also with our Panther time, one of the things that we're adding with it too is with, because we have students that they're doing well, and we might not have time for our novel studies within the actual ELAR classrooms because of Amplify, it's very, every minute is accounted for on that part, so we're going to actually do those novel studies through our Panther time for those students who are already at that top level to keep getting them and dive deeper into some actual novels groups on it. So we're excited about that. That's new for us this year. And then our communication, we're going to continue with the newsletter, Parent Square, our family academic and data nights. We actually had the largest turnout that we've had since I think the junior high for both our what we call Panther Camp, but we did an expedition tour. We had that just before, and then we moved the meet the teachers to the auditorium, and it was full. It was full. And we were actually running out of things that we were giving out that we're getting more to give to the kids that actually were there that evening. And it was great to see everyone show up from out that night. It was wonderful. And then get more out on Facebook and our campus celebrations. So we did our campus, our staff reels to actually have the expectations put out by our staff this year. So that was fun to do that. And then making sure that with our parent liaison, she's really working with us to make sure that we have that family outreach and those intervention groups helping us with that. Any questions?
Great job. Thank you for all the work.
Moving right along.
So just a little extra to kind of go along with our one pager, a couple of the graphics that some of you might have already seen, in our social media or in our newsletter. If you don't have access to the newsletter, Mr. Townsend leaves it in the board agenda each week, but we do tend to try to create graphics that will get attention of all of our students and our parents, especially this year, along with our theme. So last year we had a theme that was kind of glow up, to kind of measure up, and this year we really talked about it as an instructional leadership team. Those of you who've been with the district for a while, the district used to engage in something that was related to organizational health. There were surveys throughout the year. Staff engaged in ratings of a lot of different criteria. Bay City High School, when we first started, which was now probably 7 years ago, goal focus at Bay City High School was a 9 out of 100. And the instructional team leaders got on board with our consultant at that time, and they were embarrassed. They took it really personally, and they were like, "What? That's not Bay City High School?" And we were like, "Yeah, it is," according to everybody else's feedback. So in that year, we developed a mission. You'll see the mission on all of our things. It's Mission Monday, so we're wearing our shirts. But at Bay City High School, it's at the bottom of your one-pager, we inspire all students to pursue and achieve their goals through the power of education. And we've taken a lot of ownership of that over the course of a few years, and more recent years, when we didn't have the funding to pay for that, our instructional leadership team at Bay City High School took ownership of it themselves. We do throughout the year, 3 times a year, where we do the ratings with staff. We also do some ratings with our teams that are not just in the departments, but also with our cross, we call them heterogeneous groupings on campus. At Bay City High School this year, our instructional team leaders will not only support the departments, but they also have a cross-curricular team that is everybody that's during that planning period. So it could range from coaches to alternative education to science, math, social studies, anybody who has that planning time. We utilize that to develop an approach to professional learning this summer that is modeled after AVID. They do professional learning communities at their summer institutes, and we can't take everybody to a summer institute. So I designed a professional learning that took over the course of 2.5 days at Bay City High School. And what you see as the addition to that was kind of the core. AVID has what they call the AVID framework. We have the Black Hat framework at Bay City High School, and it's all focused on college and career readiness. Ms. Roberts mentioned talking about A through F accountability next month, but all of really what we're working on at Bay City High School right now is in regards to A through F accountability and not connected to STAR scores anymore. So the current graduating class is starting this school year at a 42 out of 100. In previous graduating classes, we've started anywhere from a 30-something to a 50-something. So we're right dead in the middle of where graduating classes usually start. The data for A through F accountability is lagging. So the A through F accountability you see now is based on the previous year's seniors, and we did nail it at a 99, and we're so excited about that. But we're starting this school year at a 42. And the state has changed some of the criteria. So whereas in the past, students who had 2 consecutive courses in a CTE class and an IBC certification could go ahead and just count their points. Or they did SAT standards, or they've already had dual credit, or they passed an AP exam. But now they have to have 3 consecutive courses with an industry-based certification. And the state took away the college and career preparatory course, which was called Ed Ready. So that college bridge we can no longer utilize for both English and math. We can only utilize it for English. So every student at Bay City High School will either have to pass the TSI math with their Ed Ready, or they will have to have an industry-based certification with 3 consecutive courses in that program of study. So we designed our focus this year on college and career readiness because it's 40% of the accountability at Bay City High School. And our lighthouse has the 3 parts that you'll see a little highlight of throughout the one-pager. But just to give you guys an overview, we started with building relational capacity. Bay City ISD used to focus on a program called Capturing Kids' Hearts. We've gone back to the origin of that and the foundations of Rita Pearson, kids don't learn from people that they don't like. And the kids that are the hardest for you to teach are never absent. And when you think about it, there is no discrepancy in the equity of a crumpled up dollar bill and a clean, crisp dollar bill. But it's a matter of which one you think has the potential of getting into the Coke machine for you to get your Diet Coke today. And it takes a little bit more equity work to get that other dollar bill smoothed out and get it in the Coke machine to get your dollar. And that is foundational of some of the things that our Avid team has learned at its core. So we're taking that and building upon it, but we're enhancing school community at Bay City High School. First, with building relationships. Second, strengthening habits. Habits not just of our students, but also of our staff. And when we talk about the second page that you'll see, the habits for the students is in the acronym of WAVE. Work ready, act responsibly and respectfully, value our school, team, and yourselves, and each other, engage every day and make it count, and then strive for success, which aligns with our mission. So everything that we are doing right now, we're asking ourselves, is it building relational capacity? Is it strengthening habits? And then in the end, is it going to create champions at Bay City High School? When we think about what our goal is, we want them to be college, career, life ready at Bay City High School. And the STAR test is basic minimum expectations. And the STAR test has also changed its game along the way. But when we think about what those STAR standards are, we're super proud. After the summer retesting, meets for every single subject went up. The algebra was the one that was lagging behind. But now with the additional students, some of the students at summer school made meets, not just the minimum expectation. So now all of our meets is in the green, which means we made growth in all of those areas. So when you look at the one pager, a few highlights, the goals that are there, 3 goals. The first one, of course, I already mentioned, is college and career military readiness. We reported last year to the board at the end of the year that we were at 99. Ms. Lopez is keeping check-in on some of those kids that said they were going to the military. A few of them who still might be able to finish their Ed Ready or TSI. And we're around to 96 right now, so that'll report for next year's data. But again, the current seniors are 42. So our goal is to maintain the 95 with whatever we can do this year, and working really hard with certifications and the consecutive courses, even though kids might be begging counselors to change their schedules. So we are not doing that because we need you to get your certification, and if you're a junior already or a senior already, you do have to stay in the course for that certification to count. Second to that is academic growth. So the last page of the additional ones that I gave you, a lot of times teachers will be like, you're doing one more thing. That's one more thing that we have to do. And that's not true. So we created, and this is a work in progress, this is a live document at Bay City High School. So we created a alignment between Wicker, which is AVID, writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and rigor, and the Fundamental 5, which the district has been trying to push for the last few years. And how do those things line up? And if Ms. Moser says that here's one thing I have to do, where does it fall in Wicker, and where does it also fall in the Fundamental 5? Because it's not one more thing I'm asking you to do. It's something that's already good best practice, and if we can check it off and say that it falls under Wicker and the Fundamental 5, then we must be doing the right thing. And then we're pushing our students to make that academic growth. We will be working towards then all of our teachers meeting T-test standards to earn that incentive for the teacher incentive allotment. So it's an easier way for them to keep track with the language that they're really familiar with. And when we model a strategy, then it gets added to the tracker. So when we did our 3-day professional development, we just kind of had like a running chart in the cafeteria because we kept coming back to that same common space. And it's like, oh, we did soulmates, added to the tracker. Oh, we did we did a ripple thing. We added to the tracker. So they can keep track of what we did as an example, and every bit of it is modeled. With that, our instructional leadership team that I mentioned to you is also going to be modeling with their departments like they have always, but in addition to that, with their period learning teams, their PLTs, by class period. So there's an instructional team leader that's available 1st through 8th period. We have some brand new teachers on our campus. So what that means is if their department leader is not available, somebody else is available. We've got some creative scheduling that'll be coming your way. I talked to Mr. Townsend about that last year. There were a few times in the year that due to the nature of our academic calendar, limiting us the planning opportunities for our staff, that we modify our bell schedule to allow for time because there is not PLC time built into our master schedule. So when you see some of those things, we appreciate the support in knowing that those things are being created in order to help our students and our staff have that opportunity. for us to track data with students, for us to work with teachers to model things outside of the classroom with their peers, and then to be vulnerable learners in that college and career readiness environment. Then thirdly, on the goals, you'll see that positive school culture. We did this for 3 days with our staff, the whole focus on promoting and enhancing a positive school culture. And at the end, as a culminating activity, we asked them in a philosophical chairs activity, which means they have to take a side, to answer this question or to respond to this statement. Positive school culture is more important than higher test scores. They had to agree or disagree and support their stance. And we were a house divided. And the overall culmination was, it doesn't go one and the other. They all coincide. And when we think about the positive school culture, it creates the champions that are coming out of Bay City High School. So if we commit to the positive school culture, we keep hounding our students with the routines and the procedures at the very beginning, and we keep communicating with our all of our partners, whether it is through the district office or through our parents, through our community partners, but we keep providing those opportunities to our kids, then they are going to come out of Bay City High School as champions. Some of the additional things that you'll see that are on the campus initiatives, that are things that we are doing, do also include definitely I mentioned the newsletter, the addition of the graphics, more use of our parent square to do those kinds of things. In addition to that, the BOY, MOY, and EOY for every subject at Bay City High School, whether they are TI-8 or not. Because if we're gauging students at the very beginning and we're gauging their progress in the middle of the year, then we will have a better idea of how they're going to have as their outcomes at the end of the year. And those are things that we've already done as best practices. Those of you who are familiar with our scouting report, we've been tracking those classes all along. So we're going to continue that, and even our teachers who are not in TIA yet, because we do have the opportunity for them to do so next year, are all giving a BOY this year so that we can keep track of that and how students are performing. And then lastly, I mentioned also our campus leadership team, but if you come to Bay City High School, you're going to see the bus. And I know the newspaper said it would be more fun if I did a dance. I'm not going to do a dance, but anybody wants to come and take a picture of the bus, there is a context to the bus. We are doing a book study with our instructional leadership team, as well as what we call our rescue team at Bay City High School, and we are on the energy bus for schools. So our team is working to grow and develop more of the leadership capacity so that we can serve. Each of our staff members picked a word that was important to them. I don't have mine with me because I forgot it in my office, but we all have a word that's on the front of our interactive notebook that we are utilizing throughout the year at all of our professional activities, and then they took their word and put it on the bus. And we are driving the bus with all of those things in mind this year, that is the goal that we have. And our AHI people actually asked us, can we add a word to the bus? So everybody's been jumping on board, like, what can we add to the bus to keep the bus going? And we are moving forward with making waves and striving for success at Bay City High School.
Do you have any questions?
Most have air conditioning.
The bus has windows open right now.
Facebook needs to know.
Yeah, we do have air conditioning. Our staff took a bus trip, and that was part of getting on the bus. And they all said the same thing. They didn't have air conditioning, but we got the windows down and we're riding the waves. So, thank y'all.
We have one question.
Yes.
We have a ton of CTE programs and paths that they can take, and it's awesome when everybody else away. But you said they increased it from having to take 2 to having to pass 3 credits in each path or whatever.
It's within their program of study.
Right. So does every path that we have 3 classes that
It does
qualify for that?
Yes, sir. Thank you for asking that. It does. We did not initially. So all the programs that we are still maintaining are the ones that we were able to offer 3 and 4 levels. The way that we did that this year is really exciting. I want to say thank you to our district administration, anybody who was involved in that decision making. Brent has been working with our CTE teachers outside, but also Carly has taken on one of our business students. Unpaid internships also count for students to get that level 4 course. So we had some kids who had their certifications and they had some coursework, but they needed one more class, and we put them in paid and unpaid internships. So they're working in Bay City ISD and getting that. Some of them are also tied to business partners. We already had a really healthy relationship in our health science program because they were already in a lot of different sites. But we are still looking for some, so if you know of any industry partners that want to latch on to somebody who's willing to grow, we do have some students who are scheduled with us, and they're in those internships this year. We'd love to move them in a direction where they actually got some paid internships as well, but really appreciate the partnership that the district is offering for that as well.
And that time is coming to an end, they need to have those.
Yes,
down
this
in
year,
10 days,
we have
right?
some seniors who are in there, and they would have wanted to have like an aid period, like a student aid. One of the things is student aid does not give us any course credit, so we created an innovative course that is in CTE. We have a CTE credit course that is more of what student aids kind of would have been, except Ms. Lopez, who's already left here, is facilitating that. They do perform kind of like an internship, and they will get a certification this year. So we're really excited that even courses that student might think as, just a kind of a fluff class or whatever is something that they're willing to sign up for and is in line with our college and career readiness framework. So thank you for asking those questions. And something to share, I know that Mr. Townsend, it was only like a bleep on the radar of what Bay City ISD might lose, but it is starting to become more of the conversation. But it's really important to know that our programs of study may not be able to continue in the capacity that we have. We've provided 13 different options for our students. We are only required at our size to offer 2. And what we have right now, the students who are in those programs of study, we can't substitute those. So if they have already started a program of study, they have to finish it to get their CCMR status. If we don't have the opportunity to offer it to them, we will lose their CCMR status if they cannot continue their program of study. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Great job.
Yeah, so I'm so proud of all the work that's been going on at the campuses, and I actually had an opportunity to make a one-pager myself, and I think for the sake of time, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but ultimately, I want to strengthen the instruction to ultimately impact student learning. I broke it down into 4 main pillars. This is something that Mr. Townsend has been working on since he was in my role as Director of Curriculum and Instruction. So there's really 2 main pillars: that strengthening literacy instruction, strengthening the numeracy instruction, and then this year we're taking it an extra step, adding 2 more. Developing staff. You've heard a lot of people talking about T-tests and coaching and working with Region 3 and people coming in giving feedback, immediate and that actionable feedback. We are actually at the district going to create an Ignite Leadership Academy where aspiring leaders can come. We will do a book study together. We're going to tap into Mr. Halley and our principals and get them in to talk about what does it mean to be a leader, what does it mean to be an instructional leader, right? That's very different. And kind of how do I do it? What is the secret to my success? And so we're going to learn from each other and build that and develop staff. And then the last pillar that I added on there was advancing systems. I'm working really closely with the coaches and our school counselors, and we're developing systems. We're meeting regularly, creating a climate of learning. We're all learning together. The instructional coaches and I are doing a book study on Teach Like a Champion 2.0. It's a book that we've had. I saw them, Mr. Halley's like, we've got a bunch of books, you might be able to use them. So we're tapping into those as instructional coaches. We meet every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we're identifying 3 quick strategies that the coaches can go back and work with their staff members on and give feedback on, and then we come back together and we talk about, well, how did it go, what did you work on, and then we're going to pick 3 new strategies. We watch quick videos of what do the strategies look like, and then go back and give some coaching practice on that. So we're super, super proud. These are my 4 main pillars. I'm happy to talk with any of you about them, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to go down deep into it. But
Does anyone have any questions in regards to it? Thank you so much.
you got it, of course. Thank you to my principals.
For the sake of time, I didn't want to take a minute to say this, is that this is where the real work is happening. And what they have been doing is truly phenomenal. There is a lot of work going on, a lot of intentionality, and the dedication and the amount of effort that's being put in at all of the campus is really, really tremendous. And you can see that in so much of the outcomes. And so, we've got a lot to do, but that's the most important work. And they're taking it seriously, and it's making a difference. And I think it's important that
And
we
they're opening their classrooms and opening their campuses to coaches to come in, to us to come in and work together. And the teamwork is just phenomenal. We couldn't do it without our principals, so we're really proud of them.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. All right.
to generate the contract. This does not trigger the attendance rate election yet. That contract will, once you approve that, this just is kind of first steps in that process to go ahead and start that off.
Make a motion to approve purchase of tennis credits.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item B, consider and approve joint election agreement with Matagorda County.
So it is really just going to be a contract they're together. So that is for us to start our contract in our process of the November election. Yes, so it'll just be, they're kind of a combined
Yeah,
one.
me and you.
Okay, so if,
I make a motion to approve the joint election agreement with Iowa County.
I'll second.
all right, we have a first and a second, just making sure that that's enough of a motion.
Yeah, there,
Can we do two separate?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
two separate,
Okay.
and I'll approve the contract.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table, and there's a second to the motion. Does anyone have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item C, consider and approve contract with Matagorda County for election services.
You gonna do it?
I'm making a motion to approve the contract with Matagorda County for election services. All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right, we will move into our consent agenda. Is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in board book.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion? All right, we have a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right, we will move into executive session. We'll convene into closed session. Personnel matters if necessary may be taken into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, resignation, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, leaving contract recommendations for campus and district level administrators and teachers. Item 2, discuss the potential sale of real property 12-acre more or less located at 0 and 1200 Whitson Street, Bay City, Matagorda, Texas, Matagorda County, Texas 77414, Texas Government Code 551.072. Item 3, discuss the sale of real property 4 acres more or less located at 2300 4th Street and 2400 4th Street, Bay City, Matagorda County, Texas 77414, Texas Government Code 551.072. Item 4, consultation with board counsel regarding legal advice related to potential sale of real property 12 acres more or less located at 0 and 1200 Whitson Street, Bay City, Matagorda County, Texas 77414, Texas Government Code 551.074. Item 5, consultation with board counsel regarding legal advice related to potential sale of real property 4 acres more or less located at 2300 4th Street and 2400 4th Street, Bay City, Matagorda County, Texas 77414, Texas Government Code 551.074. We will convene in a closed session at 6:50. All right. Kelly, if you could please let the record show that we have 6 present now.
Yes.
Okay, we will reconvene back into open session. We do not have any discuss and consider approval of our hiring of contractual personnel. All right, no motion. Item 2, consider adopting resolution for sale of approximately 12 acres more or less located at 0 and 1200 Whitson Street, Bay City, Matagorda County, Texas 77414, and related actions. Is there a motion to be made?
I move that the board adopt the resolution for the sale of approximately 12 acres more or less located at 0 and 1200 Whitson Street to George Duncan pursuant to the terms discussed in closed session.
All right, there is a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any questions, conversation? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, item number 3, consider adopting resolution for sale of approximately 4 acres more or less located at 2300 4th Street and 2400 4th Street, Bay City, Matagorda County, Texas 77414, and Matagorda County, Texas, and related actions. Is there a motion to be made?
I move that the board adopt the resolution for the sale of approximately 4 acres more or less located at 2300 4th Street and 2400 4th Street to George Duncan pursuant to the terms discussed in closed session.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Last item of business, item of adjournment. Is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We will adjourn this meeting at 7:25 p.m.
So Ms. Bujek's going to give you guys a handout.